Welcome to the Big Conversation. I am Ayo Tejusho. Yes, it's Owambe Friday, as you can see. And today we're diving deep into a topic that's close to many hearts. Getting married is a huge step, and it's super important to go into it with your eyes wide open. I do, or I didn't know, the real talk before the rings. We're going to explore everything from communication and finances to expectations and future goals. Our goal today is to give you the tools and insights you need to build a strong, lasting relationship. Before we delve into our topic, of course, let's take a look at our headlines and our beautiful co-hosts. Good morning, ladies.
Good morning.
I mean, let's have a snap, man. You guys look really amazing. How are you doing today? Hope you had a fantastic week.
Yes.
It's been one holiday after the other.
For you guys.
So let's take a look at the headlines. Osare, what do you have?
Okay, so actually, national headline should be "It's my birthday," but
happy birthday!
Happy birthday! Yeah, so mine is on the Guardian, and this one says varsities must score 70% in 4 key areas to get full NUC accreditation. This is from the federal government. Now there are 4 key areas that the NUC would usually judge universities on to score a certain percentage before yes, you get the NUC accreditation, which is the academic matters, staffing, physical facilities, and library. So for academic matters, which is where I believe the curriculum should come into place, we see that they should get at least 70%. But I mean, we had a discussion I think 2 weeks ago where we spoke about how even this curriculum needs to be updated, because we see that we're still a little bit ancient in some practices, especially in practical areas. And my own concern is in the physical facilities, because in Nigeria we see that the maintenance culture is very poor, right? And I don't know if they even take into consideration when they see like hostels, some faculties, even some classrooms where classes
toilets
are supposed to be
bathrooms.
That one is not. In fact,
for
me when I was in school, it was just like a thing. I can't even use the bathroom or the toilet in the faculty. Or if I'm outside my room, there's no, just hold it in, because you can't say, let me just be straight away to this place to use the restroom, because they're all in poor state. Now I don't know if this is also taken into consideration, because they say they look at the physical facilities, but we still go to these schools and we see that their structures are
deplorable condition,
very, very bad. Maybe most of them put effort into like Senate building, where guests would come in, things like that. But the hostels where people are living, right? I remember someone was telling me when she went to her hostel for the first time in 100 level, her parents went with her, and then they saw where she was living, and they're like, I don't think I want to leave my daughter here.
I don't think when they are going about the accreditation process and all those whatever AUC does, they don't get to the hostel. There was when I was in school, OAU, there was a year when I was there that NUC were going to come and do something with the department in my faculty, and so all of us were told so that we'll be on our best behaviors and all that. But I know that they didn't come to the hostel. Well, I mean, I didn't see them in the hostel.
How many hostels do they go to?
Exactly.
So many hostels.
It's only
I don't
think
I think it's more about the academics
than the living conditions of the students.
And I really think. So I think that's the thing with policies in Nigeria. When you look at it as a whole, you see the intention, you see the idea and how it can be a great thing. But then when it comes to execution, it's just done shabbily.
They're not as thorough as they should. They're not as thorough as they should.
Well, Chisom, what do you have?
Okay, business day. Coastal Road investors loses seen on federal government planned land revocation. So more investors may lose their assets along the Lagos-Calabar coastal corridor, following the federal government's warning that it might revoke all land approvals within that highway setback. That warning is in bad state, and if carried out and not handled transparently, it could stall ongoing projects, disrupt investments, plans, and erode confidence in coastal property development, says stakeholders. So for me, I mean, from the newly developed airport at Umuleri to that's southeast to Lagos Calabar Coastal Road, there seems to be some vote of no confidence, you know, for stakeholders, because I think there was a news sometime where investors from the UK, US, were literally crying out, you know, on social media that they don't know what's happened to their investment. And that particular, what's it called, investment company, which appeared to be owned by Southeastern, was, you know, they had challenges because the investors didn't know what has happened because government has taken over so many portions of the properties that they had bought. And these guys are actually professionals across the globe, in the US, in the UK, and all of that. And they don't know what the government has for them. And for me, it's a vote of no confidence, and I think it's done in bad taste, if done. And I feel that, like, government should be a bit more transparent, because I feel like most of them take up those properties eventually. They like the properties because they are close to.
Right. And I think for me, sometimes it's akin to bullying, where
Yes.
it just feels like, and I know that yes, development will always happen. Yes, there are certain things that have been done in the past that we can correct, but you must put people in consideration. I remember in Lagos, to this beach that I love to go to, and when they were trying to do, and I think eventually I don't even know what's going on, what the update is. So sometimes it really does feel like somebody just has a vendetta, and then they just pick on, you know, this person, this investor. They should go back to the drawing board. There are people who are invested in these things and whose livelihood are not just even the investor, but people who work there. You know, that's one of the things that we saw when it happened. I think it was Landmark Beach. You know, and government needs to do better, to be honest. It's sometimes how they repossess and do some of their developmental works is akin to bullying, and I think it's not okay.
So I have a different angle to this, because I mean, we're also concerned when they take people's livelihood and all of it, but apparently they say that any land is government's land.
So we know that. We know
And, you know, they have the right to at any time to...
Yes, but it's not in the manner, it's not the matter, the manner
in which it is done. I think for people now, because we see situations where some people, maybe when they are buying lands, they probably don't even go through the actual due process to know, okay, does this one have COO, or does this one have government order, or something like that. Some people do not know truly if their land is susceptible, right? So I think we have to maybe educate ourselves to know, okay, when we're buying, you know, property, when we're buying land, let's either go through the right channels or be sure that, okay, truly, this land is, you know, free for personal use, and not, because there are some that, you know, they would still put on the market, even though they know that, you know, later in line, this is probably, you know, one of the major areas that, you know, could be repossessed. So I think education for ourselves as well. So
I love you so much. Today is your birthday, but I still disagree.
No vex.
Because please, you can't be angry with us today.
It's her birthday. She's a fight.
The truth of the matter is that there are designated agencies and I mean approved people who do property in Nigeria, legitimately, and nobody will want to put their money inside water that it will sink or it will run. So most people do their due diligence, but the only issue we have is that most times government, like you said, every land belongs to government, so they can do anyhow they like.
However, they must put the people in consideration
and
then find a way and then find a way perhaps compensate them so that, you know, I know that there's nothing like seeing your dreams crumble. No matter how much compensation, a lot of work has gone into that business, that investment. So yes, they may compensate you, but it's still tough. But then the compensation is something that
they're crying on TV.
It's unfortunate. It's unfortunate. And another government that all eyes are on is my own headline, is on the front page of the Guardian newspaper. And that's India, right? I mean, I'm sure a lot of people at this point have heard about the plane crash that happened in. You know, the flight was leaving from India to the UK. And, you know, some good news. I don't know if I can call it good news, but, well, it's still a glimmer of hope that one person survived that crash. And apart from the headlines and the major news of, you know, all the investigation, of course, that will follow the crash, I want us to look at how all the different agencies have handled this news. First of all, I think there's a humanity part of it. When tragedies happen, as they usually do in Nigeria, it's just the numbers that we have become so desensitized to these tragedies. You read the newspaper every other day and you see how 100 people have something in this place. Another 75 people have this here. But we don't feel the heaviness of it because we don't see them as humans. We don't see them as communities. We don't see them as families. But going through the paper, so I think this is a call on journalists, really, you know, the media, and even just random people. Because if you go on Twitter and you see how people are addressing this, talking about how this couple, these doctors who and their 3 kids, this couple who, you know, this Indian nationals.
The husband had been in the UK, then his family had been in India, then she left her job
to join him.
They packed their whole family and on
you
this
almost
trip.
feel like you know
goodness.
these people personally. I think we need to do better when we report tragedies. This has been very eye-opening for me, especially, and as a media person and also as a human being. It's not enough for us to just say free, or what's that thing, justice for one place or free this place. We need to humanize, that's the word. Tragedy. We need to see them as people that lived, that breathed, that had hopes. The hostel that the plane crashed on had students in it. It was lunchtime at a particular mess hall. It was a part of the hostel was also affected. So there were so many students that were affected by this. And you could see people talking and humanizing the whole thing. I feel it is really, really, I mean, the example that comes to my mind readily is the Chibok girls. I think, yes, a lot of people try their best to humanize that, but after that, we've heard so many students kidnapping, we've heard so many other tragedies. Unfortunately, I think the Prime Minister of India has been there, has been at the site of the crash. You see how everyone is feeling this. It's not just about releasing a statement that one SSA to the SSA of the SSA will put out. Everyone is all hands on deck. And I think that's one thing I love to see, and I hope that we can imbibe as a people.
Absolutely, absolutely. Very sad indeed.
Ronke, what's your headline?
Amen. Just seeing that family for me, I know there are lots of other families there, but you know.
It's really sad.
It was really sad. Well, my headline is from the Blueprint newspaper this morning. It's talking about the alarm about the one-party state. The president is saying it's ringing in error. He's saying to the opposition. And to be honest, the people who are crying about us eventually getting to become a one-party state, especially if it's from the opposition, it should be a shameful thing for them, because it's not the president's fault that your people are jumping ship. You need to put your house in order. We definitely don't want a situation where we'll become a one-party state or a person becomes so controlling, because we see that happening already in the House of Assemblies and all of that, when there's, you know, the governor or the president has so much power on the lawmakers. But also the opposition needs to rise to the challenge. It's not enough to start crying that your people are jumping ship. Why are they jumping ship? Go to the bottom of the problem and, you know, develop some sort of structure that allows your people to stay. So for me, I actually quite agree with the president when he says that, you know, the shout about it, us becoming one-party states, we're looking in the wrong direction now. You know, so if your children, for example, are saying they rather stay in the neighbor's house, find out what's in your house that's chasing them away to the neighbor's house, as opposed to saying, why my neighbor's house so nice? Exactly, should be at home. So.
My own perspective is, should that conversation have even come up on Democracy Day? That's
well, people have been asking that question. People have been blaming him and saying that is the reason why we're going to the point where we're going to become a one-party state. So people have been blaming him.
He can reply them any other day. Democracy Day is about how we have to allow intentionally, even when it doesn't suit our personal interests, we have to intentionally pursue democracy, because the opposite of democracy is not something we want to entertain
but
anymore.
one-party state is something that it will not democratic if we have a one-party state. So I think it does have a point to address it, because if we do become a one-party state, there's nothing democratic about that, because then only one person's voice is heard.
And so for him to back that, for him to say, if you don't put your house in order, it's not my fault if you... I don't think... I mean, if it was just any other day, I don't think I'll care. But because it was on Democracy Day, other nations are watching us. We already have a certain, you know, look already, and to now, you know, put that more fuel into the fire.
No, actually, he didn't. He was actually making a promise. He says, to those who ring the alarm that the APC is intent on a one-party state, I offer you a most personal promise. While your alarm may be as a result of your panic, it rings in error. At no time in the past, nor any instance in the present, and at no future juncture, shall I view the notion of a one-party state as good for Nigeria. So he was backing the fact that it's not
then again, in every rumor, there is an element of truth. So that's what I have to say.
Right. Oh, well, it's been an amazing headline look this morning. We'll be right back. But when we return, we're sitting down for the big conversation. Get ready to hear the truths, the red flags, the questions every couple should ask before walking down the aisle. Don't go away. We'll be right back. Welcome back. This is The Big Conversation, and today we're asking, what should you really know before saying I do? Is love enough? Is sex enough? Is prayer enough? What do you wish someone had told you before marriage? Join me and our panelists who have also, of course, seen marriage from the front row, from the counseling room to the courtroom to their own living rooms. We're going to be getting into this conversation. Ladies, if there is one thing, one thing, and I'm taking a pause because I really want you to think about it. If there's one thing you wish that someone had told you before you got, and I'm going to start with Osare because
okay, she's the youngest.
It's because I'm
youngest wife.
no, even if you were in Mokola, I would call you because you know, of course, you're the newest to this. You probably remember. If there's something you wish someone had told you, what would it be?
To be honest, I think I probably would even need like a longer time to think.
Really?
But if there's maybe something to what I probably
Still
would
in honeymoon
say.
stage.
No, wait. What I probably would have said, I was actually told.
Yes.
Right?
Okay.
Like every day will not be rosy.
Oh, yeah.
You know, there will be days where you're like, this is the same person, right? All of those things, knowing that, you know, you need to put some extra work.
So you really got that information
I
and it
did.
was timely.
I did.
Fantastic. What
I
about you,
did.
Chisom?
Why did you
What is it? Why are you people running away? Listen, this conversation is going to be raw, so don't worry.
I actually have
What do you
to. I actually
think?
have to. Just that I feel like the first or the second one. Okay, so let me say the first one about pregnancy and you know what to expect.
Oh.
So I feel like our parents don't like telling us the truth about all of that pain, and then you just want to measure your threshold by the time you get there. Maybe you wing it, maybe not. You should have
Really?
told us.
Yeah.
But I feel like if they tell us, some of us will bowl out. You know?
People are already in that euphoria of, I'm going to be a wife.
Exactly.
And I'm not
Don't
sure
wanna
there's
bust their bubble.
anything. So, you know, the reason that question is important to me is I'm not sure there's anything anyone would tell anyone about marriage because there's somewhere your head is at
it's
when
so-
you're about
it's
to
many
get
on the
married.
clouds.
That even if you get some information, you won't process it the same way you process it after.
That's true.
For me, one thing I've always heard is how you shouldn't let the sun set on your anger. Make sure you settle it. Make sure you, and I don't think I needed that advice because, come on, you're going to make it worse. That's one thing I've noticed. And it's important for communication to understand your partner's communication, what's it called? Communication methods, really. So when I heard that it's important to settle it, and you know, at night or maybe even the afternoon the fight started, and then later, no, you will not sleep, and you make it grow bigger and bigger.
Just go to bed.
Unfortunately, it makes it worse.
Yes.
And it would have been better if you had just slept
Let
on
it
it,
go.
cleared your air, or maybe even
Come with a fresh
taken
air
a
in the
walk
morning.
or something. So now let's look at.
You allow me as
You know, I'm not finished though. I'm not finished though. Many one.
Wait.
Let me finish my own.
Let Ronke tell us. Wait, you people want to.
I don't want to know what I wish I was told.
What do you
I
wish you
wish I
were
was told that you would not be having sex like rabbits. Just like, you know, your hormones and your libido before you get married. It's like, so nobody tells you that when you get married, life will get in the way and you're not going to be able to have sex like how you imagine every day, morning, evening, after.
That's what you were thinking before
That's
you
what,
got married.
so
Okay.
nobody told me.
Okay.
And a lot of couples are thinking that too, that you're going to just be, especially those who have sort of abstained before marriage. You think, oh, you know, we're just going to just do it everywhere. But unfortunately, life happens.
I wish
just so that
DT were here.
Exactly.
I'm sure she would beg to differ on
Exactly.
that note. Because, you know,
It's our mommy. Exactly.
but Chisom, you wanted to give me one other one.
One other one is the finances. You see, that's
Finances.
very, very important. My sister, Jumoke, will agree with me. She was on this table. Because that conversation, most people don't have it.
So true.
So they wing it, and when they get in, it's like a trap.
Because you assume, a lot of women assume.
Assume.
So
Assumption.
let's talk about
Life of
finances, where you just stopped now. Finances can be very tricky in the sense that your ideas about how money should be managed is different from the
Or
other
how money
person.
should come in.
Source of income, livelihood, and
How
all
you
that
spend,
can be
where it's
different.
kept.
So, what kind
It's
of
kept.
conversations do you think intending couples should have Because, I mean, I know that a lot of people have deal breakers.
Yeah.
If we get married, what are your deal breakers? Some people say, we cannot be broke. If we're broke, I'm out. You know? So what kind of conversations regarding finances do you think are really important?
Right. So it's in so many ways, but importantly, how many children should we have? Because if we are going to have only one child or no child at all, finances may not be a problem. Because by the time, I mean, there's nobody's going to be at home to take care of anybody. But if we're going to have 6 children, 7 children, it's really important we talk about this conversation. Because sometimes when the woman has already had like 3, say, madam, you're not done. No. Okay. Do you understand? You get that? So society and the family has decided you are not done. So you need to go again. And then meanwhile, she's struggling with her career. She's trying to fit in. And then she's also managing the children. So for me, it's more like having all of these conversations together. Yeah. You can't even have one and not have the other.
Right. Still on finances, Ronke, a lot of people talk about joint accounts. In fact, some people start practicing it before they get married, where they have a savings account and everybody's dropping something in there. We've heard about couples who this has, at the end of the day, bitten in the back. Yeah. So do you think in a bid, because I mean, I think it's always about solution for me, I don't know about others. Right. So when you're having a finance conversation before marriage, do you think a joint account is a good idea when you're about to go into it? Okay.
I think whatever works for the couple is a good idea. Yeah. And that's why for me, just going from what Chisom said, the premarital counseling we have in church and sometimes is not real. It's good. Biblical. It's good to tell the person to be woman to be a virtuous man. But real talk, and I was privileged to have had one of those counseling. I had the church counseling, then I had a proper counselor counseling with my husband. You know, so those are things that we talked about. So you cannot determine based on your job, based on your career, is joint account going to work for us as a family, or is it something you're just doing because everybody should do it? So I feel like everyone should really sit down and talk candidly and honestly about what will work for our family. So for me, joint account could work for somebody else, but may not work, for me.
Oh, sorry, what about the trust factor in having a joint account?
I mean, to be very honest, if you see yourselves, going into marriage, there should be some level of trust, right? But maybe society has portrayed, maybe also from people's personal stories that, there's a situation where the woman or the man would wipe the whole account. So one of them is still keeping secret money somewhere for the day that something like that
which a lot of our parents told us. You have to have, fixed money. You have to have money somewhere. Yeah?
Precisely. So I think, to be honest, it really is God that we help them because you really also don't know the true intent of the person until something like that happens.
Other than what you know.
Other than what you know, because this is still, until you get married, you'll still be learning and knowing more about the person. But, just touchlighting what she had said, maybe because, like, I'm young, right? And before we got married...
We're all young.
I'm
younger.
We're all young.
I'm younger.
We're all young, but I'm younger, yes. And before I got married, we had established the fact that, yes, there will be church counseling, but we wanted that intentionality because there are things that, the church pastor, the church counselor might not be comfortable to say. Or would say it with half mouth because I should not be heard saying it. So even before we did church counseling, we already started counseling, initially, right? And this was, so someone like a mentor to us who would not hide what he needs to say, would not mince words or anything, and we're giving exercises, assignments, to report, practical sessions, and then prayer sessions, of course. So when we now even did church counseling on his side, did church counseling on my side, we saw that, thank God that we actually did. Maybe that's why I'm saying for now, I can't really think of what I wasn't told before because to some level, I'm just 2 years in, to some level, I've, either heard a part or heard in full. And so that is the cocoa.
And I wanted to, Ayo, because oftentimes a lot of couples don't have difficult conversations. And I think that's why, whether it's about finances, whether it's about sex, we don't have difficult conversations before we take a huge leap like marriage. So I don't know, it's something that
Is there a reason people don't have that conversation?
Because our eyes are in the cloud, or we have rose-colored glasses.
I was about to get to that.
You're doing something, you're getting married.
There's so many things in people's pasts that they have challenges talking about with their partner. There are people who have kids, you know, who had kids maybe when they were in school and now have the kids with their parents. But because maybe they think they have something good going, they don't want to mess it up, choose to hide that. People who maybe have had abortions, people who maybe, you know, and so you have these things in your mind, but you just don't feel comfortable enough to have that conversation. What would you say to... Because I think, well, maybe from movies, you see that people struggle with these things. They think about it, should I not? But eventually they decide, you know what, let me just hold on to it. Unfortunately, most times it will come back and bite them in the back. So how can hard conversations like these ones be broached?
Okay, so the thing is, with people who have struggled getting married and having all of these issues from previous life choices, you find out that they want to dive in first. You know, when we get there, we can swim with sharks. You know, but because they feel like if they say this, they rat themselves out, literally, it might end without them getting in.
But even if they don't rat themselves out, if eventually it comes out, they are going to...
Yeah, because they know where they're coming from, and they really don't want to... They feel like this is the one good thing that's about to happen to them. And why mess it up with my past? All things are passed away.
But a baby is not going to pass away.
But you know what?
Eventually they will find out.
I'm a spiritual person. Let me not say religious. All this, I'm a Christian, I'm a spiritual person. But I find it bizarre how Nigerians hide behind spiritual stuff, religion, to be in denial. That there are men who know that they are impotent, who will marry and just say, you know, there are women who know maybe they don't have fallopian tubes, who know
you talked about the people who are changing their genotype, or what's that?
Exactly,
Thank you.
You know, the people who know they are SS, but they will lie that they are AA just to marry this person, or just because I know God will do it eventually. No, God will do it, but tell me about it. Don't hide it and tell me God. Let's know together that God would. I remember when we had this counseling that we had. I remember, because everyone who knows me knows I kind of like marriage was peculiar. So when we talked about this, oh my God, I cried like, and even the counselor was like, okay, cried like a baby, because this was something that if I hadn't cried that cry, oh God, I'll be crying premium. So people talk about me now, my kids, and like, how did you, it was because of those tough conversations we had before, or else it would have been really tough for us, you know, after marriage. So a lot of people hide behind this spiritual, we will overcome it, we will be well. No, but don't hide it. It will be well, but let's hold hands and let us know it will be well together. Not that you hide it from me.
Now that's one half of the divide, right? The person who has the secret bringing it up into the open. Oh, sorry.
So
if, God forbid, your husband will not bring any weirdness to you, but if you suddenly had to face a hard truth today, how would you handle it? How would you advise people?
Now, like that we're married.
Now that you're married, if he brought something that you didn't hear before marriage,
like
so how do you think, like a 6-year-old child somewhere, how do you think people who find themselves in that situation, how do you think they should handle it?
Well, to be honest, I would say this is also something the bringer of the news should take into consideration, that your partner would need time to process that kind of information, the weight of the information. You just need time to process it, because it would be a lot. So it is important to take that time to process, because if you miss that, just like they say, don't miss the grief period. If you miss that period and you maybe just mask it with, oh, it is well or whatnot, you would see that it would, you know, come and replay, you know, or project in several ways that could not just affect you, but affect, you know, other things and other people. So first of all, I would say take that period to just process. If you need time away, maybe go and stay with your parents, or stay just to get away from, you know, and properly process that, okay, this is what happened. It is not me. It's not a me thing, right? You know, just process that.
It is what it is.
It is what it is. And realize that, okay, from that,
where do we go from
you
here?
now have to accept, right, that, okay, this has happened, way forward. And I would be hoping that the bringer of the news would be, you know, willing to give all. I mean, because why you didn't bring it up in the beginning is also because that what happened to trust? What else are you hiding?
I don't know if you remember the video that was circulated on Instagram.
The lady that found her husband had a daughter from.
What you're saying is for people in the minority. What a lot of people do usually is, this is a deal breaker, I'm out. Remember, we're having a conversation with Ebo the other day where I was talking about my own deal breakers. If this happens, I'm out. There is no grieving period. There's no, let's look at how this goes. No. So I think there are a lot of women, or maybe even men in some cases, where there are some things that are deal breakers, absolute deal breakers. So for intending couples, what really should be safe deal breakers? What really should they be willing to navigate or talk through? Ronnie, do you want to take that?
Oh my gosh, you should be able to talk through anything, to be honest. It really depends. That's it. I mean, as I've grown as well, there are certain things that used to be deal breakers for me too, that now is like, you know, because for example, let's the elephant in the room, cheating, for example. You know, so it used to be, and I'm saying it now, it used to be, but it used to be a deal breaker that, oh, if you cheat, I'm out. You know, but I think that for everything, there has to be, communication needs to be, communication is important. Then it's after the communication is done that we can now determine, okay, what is, you know. So because for me, I'm thinking it's hard. Yes, we tell women to leave once it cheats, leave. But in America, that's why in America, for example, or in developed countries, is the person who cheated or the man who leaves, because they know that obviously women are more vulnerable. That's why a lot of people, your husband cheats. In Africa, is the woman that will leave
the house.
But you leave, what's going to happen to your life? It's not easy to now become like a sole financier of whatever are you going to live with your children, eat. So there's things that I now think about that, okay, we're not in America, but if you cheat, you're the one leaving because I'm not leaving my house for you. And if you're not leaving, then we're going to, do you understand? So I feel like communication is so key in every relationship. There are things you still find out that may not be huge deal breaker, but you find out in mind and you're like, why didn't I know this before we got married? Because I don't think it's realistic to say you will know everything about a person. You know, so there are things that will still spring out and you're like, oh, I didn't know that. Obviously, it's not like something like hiding a child or hiding that you're impotent, or but there's certain things that will just come out. Oh, I didn't know there was someone in your family that has had this struggling with this disease or mental health, because those things are important conversations too. But I think with communication, with communication, there's nothing that cannot be, you know,
the other elephant that should not even be in the room, but is in the room, obviously, is violence, use of drug, abuse, you know, all kinds of abuse that maybe the wife is not aware of. And then it apparently is now the mainstay and everyday, you know, breakfast. So that, you know, hit a woman, no. Or hit
so
a man,
what should be done in such a situation?
Okay, you come into a relationship with a bad habit. I'm not the one that caused the habit.
We change you.
I'm not the one that caused the habit.
Another big one is, I mean, that I've been seeing on social media is homosexuality, where either the husband is interested in his guys or the woman is interested in things. So how can really it can be fixed? So that would be an absolute end of the relationship.
It might not be.
Why are you saying right, okay? Do you think it really is the end? Because I mean, you see a lot of all these Joro pages where people are saying, "What can I do in this situation?"
My husband is gay, sleeping with the gates man.
Or his best friend, his best man.
So, Ronnie said something about cheating. Some women would literally die chasing their husband. I have seen it happen where she drove herself to death just because she was chasing. Some people do see some of those things and say, I can live with this. Where I'm coming from, this is better. So it's
depends on people's
different strokes for different trauma. Some people would rather deal with this than deal with where they're coming from. So it depends.
But if you find out your partner is
gay, there's nothing.
I mean, what do you now want to remain?
So it's the work of the devil now.
No,
I will change.
I
will.
Like, what are you remaining
there
in the
for?
marriage?
What are you waiting for?
If maybe the man is now interested in another man.
So I'm thinking it's all about your education. What education are you even coming? What background of education do you have?
Understand. The guy is gay.
No. I'm coming. I'm just talking in a general sense.
Okay.
If your education says that whatever I see here, social construct has instructed me that whatever I see in this relationship is what I get for life.
Exactly. That's what we're
I have no option.
So true.
I can't get anywhere from here. So whatever you see, you keep it. Zip.
Your MRS. I mean. MRS, Mrs.
No, I'm not quite clear on that. So are you saying
society tells us?
For some people will intentionally stay in there and just
not people stay there. Ignorance is the mother of all. What's the word?
We see.
No. You know, we're sitting here today to, in a way, mold minds. There are people who are genuinely confused. I understand that such moments, I don't think anybody prays for such evil emergencies, because that's what it is for me. So for people who genuinely are looking for a way out, if you're confronted with something like that, because I mean, I don't know which is even greater, in just ordinary cheating or finding out that see your rival is even.
Is there red flags? I think one of the things we also need to talk about is are there, because some people will say I didn't know.
Some people don't know.
Can I be honest with you?
Some people don't know.
Can I be honest with you?
Yes.
You want me to be honest?
Yes, please.
There are some women who have been violated, almost died, they've been cheated on, and everything. They had a chance, FIDA or social associations have defended you, and they ask you, woman, do you want to stay? You say no. No, you say yes, I forgive him.
Yes.
And guess what happens after? The man now devises a way of looping you and making sure they mess you up.
Right.
I've seen it happen not once, not twice, and it happens every day across Africa. And that I say is because of the education that the woman has.
Absolutely.
You do not say because you love somebody who is about to kill you.
Right.
You stay and wait to die.
And I know that that's even like an extreme case of even cheating. I don't think any woman has any business sleeping with somebody who's cheating. Popular and unpopular opinion. We may still be in the same house because maybe I don't have anywhere to go yet, and so but I don't think because people have caught HIV from husbands that are philanderers.
Culture and tradition
and stuff like that
has messed up a lot of the psyche of young girls who are not educated well. Culture, tradition, social construct has messed up their mind. So once, you have to get married. Once you get married, that's where you stay. Nothing must take you out of your husband's house. You must be an obedient woman. Nothing, prayer, you have to be prayerful. All of that now builds her up, and then when she gets there, zip, she will not say what she's seeing.
Another important aspect to marital life is also the in-laws and
outlaws.
Why did you call them outlaws? Well, some of them.
Some people are outlaws.
They're the fools indeed. That's what they are. This sometimes it's difficult to see or know who they really are from the outside. It's when you enter that some of them will begin to show you that side. So for couples, or for ladies, or for men even, because sometimes it's the men who see really crazy things with in-laws. What should they look out for, or what questions can they ask their partner? Please, does your uncle used to...
I personally don't believe that. When people say, I didn't know, I personally don't believe
that there will be signs.
When, for example, maybe I feel there are always signs, but of course with us ladies we are super emotional when we are dating. We're not realistic. We're not logical. They
misinterpret the signs.
Exactly. There are signs. You go to somebody's house and you are, but a lot of women see the signs. They just see them as misinterpret the signs, and then when they get married, they say, I didn't know. I just feel like there are some things that sorry.
Cover it with prayer and inshallah.
Cover it with prayer. So I don't believe that anyone. That's why when you're single, I know your heart is in there, but please use your head. And I know it's tough, but because of the kind of person I've always used half of my heart and half of my head with everything.
I went home to visit my parents some months ago. And we had a conversation about, I really can't remember what brought it on. I think we're talking about how my younger brother, he will soon marry you now, because the first two of us are girls, so now he would be the first boy who will be bringing a girl in the family. And we're just talking about he will soon bring a wife or something, and I want to see how they'll behave and all that. And I don't know what led to the whole, a woman will come to the house, you say they should wash plates, wash clothes. Conrad was saying, if they say she should do it, you are supposed to do it. I said, no, if you go and do that, exactly. Sometimes, we had to have, I told him, I think some time ago, that was a thing. Now, it really is not I was talking about how it's not a measure of how responsible a girl is. And he said, yes, he agrees. But, so if she sees your mommy washing something, I'm like, it doesn't matter. Why is my mommy choosing to wash clothes? I would help. Ronnie,
yes.
My own point is, see, the same way parents are watching these girls, I think it's the same way girls should watch these parents.
So true.
I think it's a very red flag.
Yes.
Would it not surprise you?
Right.
We are coming.
Exactly.
And then suddenly,
how come you get to the house and
mommy is sweeping,
plates are all over the scene.
Yes.
There's laundry to be done. There's something to be cleaned. I think it's a red flag. Of course, the omoluabi in any girl should help.
Yes.
But it should also set something into your head.
Exactly.
So I think that is the premise for what I was asking earlier, Osare. Is there a question that any young couple, man or woman, should ask about their potential in-laws? Is there a way to coin such a question?
There's no way to coin.
I think it is important to ask your partner about their parents, their lifestyle, their general disposition, and if you are privileged that maybe the person you want to marry, they have an older sibling that is married as well. So also ask the in-law as well that how has it been so far in the family, if they are willing to disclose. But I definitely think even before you meet them, those questions are important. Okay, how do they view respect?
Yes.
What is their definition of respect?
Respect,
because that's one thing. Would I say struggled with? Because I mean, I'm Edo and I'm coming into a full
Yoruba.
And then sometimes it might be to speak Yoruba. Apparently, I'm offending some people.
Oh my
and I'm genuinely just coming from a good place. I'm even trying to try to please you, but apparently it's offending someone. So I'm like, okay, do I need to kneel down to greet? Do I need to? Because where I'm from, it's not like that, right?
Yeah,
so
it's like that.
So those genuine questions that if I don't call like on your parents' birthday, do I need to call? Do I need to visit? Do they expect gifts? Okay, do they need to be? Do they want to give a name to my son? Do they, those things, just so that I'm also preparing myself.
Right.
That when I enter, I'm not just like bush.
Exactly.
But I would have had a premonition that this is the life I have chosen.
Interesting.
Pretty much.
Oh, sorry. So much wisdom flying around today. Now, if you're single, dating, engaged, or even married, this is one conversation you'll want to revisit. But for now, let's take a quick break with our life hack of the day. And when we return, we'll explore this topic a little more on our Agree or Disagree segment. Stay with us. Interesting. I love that hack. How you put tea bags in your shoes to take away the odor. And something that you find in bags when you just buy them. That's silica gel. I used to throw it away until I found out that they're supposed to help with things like that. Precisely. Interesting. Now it's time for, of course, our fun and flow segment, the Agree or Disagree game, where we throw in some spicy statements and see how our panelists and audience feel about them. Now brace yourself. This might get a little controversial. Now, what's our Agree or Disagree question for today? People should live together before marriage to see what they're really like. People should live as Lokolaya before marriage to see what they're really like. Do we agree or do we disagree? Chisom. You disagree.
Yes, so.
Why do you disagree?
Mother Teresa of Calcutta. So for me, so why I say disagree with red is because I'm wearing red. It's a danger zone. It's a danger zone, and so you can't leave. You can visit. You can come around. You can have lunch. Not sleepover.
But sometimes it gets very late.
Exactly.
It gets late. You come
outside. They say coffee. You just get tired.
So we book ride.
There's 24 hours in Lagos. Especially if I live in Lagos, so you can't sleep. Lagos does not sleep.
So you really don't think?
So for me, there's a lot to unpack really, because you want to know how big the is. I want to know.
Oh wow! Okay, how do you know that?
I say there's a lot to unpack.
You're supposed to have faith on that one. Believe.
You want to know if it fits.
No, but you will know. Please, let's.
You want to know if it fits.
If the guy is around you and he doesn't show that he's...
Please don't take over my this thing.
Sorry. I'm just telling young singles, that's how you know, because some people say, oh, until you test the car.
Why is she spoiling?
You don't know if it's one.
Sorry.
And so these are the things you want to know. I'm issuing a disclaimer.
I'm blushing.
You know, you should measure decorum. You should have decorum.
You really don't think they need to live together?
They don't need to live. They just need to, there could be swimming dates, there could be a lot of, things you can do.
Testing activities.
No, I'm not saying testing.
You don't test it properly. You just look around.
You just look around. You survey the environment.
Okay.
You need to survey the environment.
Okay. Sorry, what about you?
You need to know what's happening.
Why are you always jumping me now?
Because I know that's your own. Don't worry. I want to take time with it.
So
Sorry, what do you think?
So I disagree.
Why?
Right, I disagree because I mean you don't need to live together, right?
Really?
It's not biblical. It is not. I don't agree with it.
Church does not allow it.
However, right? However, I would say to some extent there needs to be some level of proximity for you to be able to for you to be able to deal and understand with each other. Now, this is maybe because it's from personal experience. So before we got married, we were in a relationship before, but then there was long distance, and that really happened together again. The first thing we wanted to eliminate was the distance. Right? But it was still Lagos, Ibadan, right? And I've also seen friends and people in similar situations where, unfortunately, they might not be able to, bridge that gap. So I would say, don't live together, but to some extent, maybe try to be close, so you can easily visit. You can easily have dates to go out, because not everything can be done on the phone. Not everything can, you can't do everything, virtually and all of it. So I believe there should still be some form of proximity that would, push that relationship to, through those.
That decision.
Yes. But if it's too, but not to live together.
Ronnie,
but
what do you think?
Be close.
Okay, agree or disagree? Agree.
We already know. We know now.
I have an idea.
What? Let me
come outside.
Should we do it together?
Let's do it together. We 1, 2, 3, go!
That just happened. Please tell me why first. Tell me why first. Tell me why first. I am shocked. Wow. And I think you played reverse psychology because you knew what I thought you were going to do. Tell me why.
Okay, I will say it's not even about being biblical, because not everybody is Christian, not everybody is religious. So it's actually fact. It's been backed that people who actually live together before they get married, oftentimes it ends up turning awry, in the long run. So there's no signs that backs that. Because how many people do you want to live with? You live with this person, you find that, okay, his thing is not, the sex is not sweet enough. You move on to somebody. That's it for me. And oftentimes the women, that's the loser. Because, yes, I know we want to say women is a man's world, so women, let us make it a woman's world as well. But if a woman is the one is the receiver, and you are the one that keeps hopping, eventually it tells more on you than a man. So also, because I'm a mom, I wouldn't advise my girls to do that, but there are ways to know if a guy desires you. There's some women who have married and realize that, okay, the guy is always acting like, oh, he's so Christian, they marry, and in fact, the guy is impotent. If a guy is around you and you get good touch and he doesn't have a small erection, it's a red flag. That ways without living together. To know that a man is messy. Visit him too. His kitchen sink is dirty. You know that he's looking for a maid, he's not looking for a wife. His laundry, his boxers is like,
And you see the conversation on social media about how many days people you're hearing people say 1 week, 2 weeks.
Exactly. So I wouldn't say live together. There are ways that you can spend a lot of time together, talking, watching, open your eyes, single lady. Open your eyes. Don't say, your laundry, you go there. Tell us. You agree?
Yes, I actually
do.
Really?
That people should live together?
Now, you raised an important part of the conversation about how many people do you want to live with. I think it's not at the boyfriend-girlfriend stage that you should live together, but as soon as, maybe after engagement, because, I mean, you now have an intention on the way. I think before you get married, there should be a moment where you are not outside, but yet you're not inside yet. So let's know before I now put all my legs inside. Is this something I want to do? Of course, I mean, will you marry me part, not the engagement part.
What would you find out after that stage that will make you say, hey, I'm not doing it again? What kind of thing would you find out after that stage that will make you say, find out exactly before?
So maybe because you've only been visiting, he cleans every time you come. Now you see he's a pig.
We now living
And
because
so
they
you
pig.
decide
You
if
put
you
water on
want
the
to be
pig and tell
somebody's
him-
maid,
Yes.
if you can cope with that, you know. If he's someone who cannot help at all in the kitchen, you also have an idea, and you know if this aligns with your capacity. That's what I think.
I think you can find that out without living with him. If it's a pig, and I know that he does, the fact that he even cleans up before that mean, it shows me that he can clean up. So good. Well, I'll just say when we are married, I'll just be leaving the dirty on the floor. After when you are satisfied, you will clean up.
Can
So
we
surprise visits.
Exactly.
Can we agree to
Someone's birthday is today!
happy birthday, Osare? Happy birthday!
We are saying we love you. God be with you till the end of time. May He say, well done.
Happy birthday. We
you,
wish you many
Edo
happy
Queen.
returns.
What does it say?
Beautiful cake, by the way.
TQ.
What does that mean?
The Edo Queen.
Oh, TEQ.
TEQ.
I love that.
Oh,
Happy
take that,
birthday.
Makes sense. Oh my God, happy birthday, Osare.
so much.
You're such a joy to be around. You are truly amazing. We love having you on this table, even though you are the Gen Z ambassador, but you're blending
joy.
so well with us millennials. And we truly love you. Happy birthday.
Happy
Osare.
birthday.
Oh my
Happy
goodness.
birthday.
We love you.
Show them your
appreciate
cake now. Show them your cake.
It's pink and purple.
I know. Oh,
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Come to the studio, we'll share it.
Interesting. Now we'll take our wise word on the web before we wrap up really quickly. Never compare your marriage. Now this is important. Don't let anyone else's negative experiences shape your expectations or kill your hope. And that's from Ngina Otiende. A lot of people base their marriages around what they see on social media or what the lives of other people look like. And they shouldn't really, do that. All right, guys, that's a wrap on the Big Conversation for today. Whether you're planning your big day or reflecting on the journey so far, remember, saying I do is easy. Building a life together, that's where the real work begins. Join us next time for another powerful conversation that just might change your perspective. Till then, stay curious, stay open, and keep having the
Big conversation. It's actually a 50.